used to feel that more when I was in ECW. It was easy to really feel like I was the best wrestler in the dressing room. And, and maybe I would get voted at that time that I was the best they had. I've certainly heard it a lot, but now I accept real truths more, such as everything is subjective. So if someone else said Blue Meanie was the best wrestler, then guess what? They're right. So, but at the time, being so competitive, I did have to be that wrapped into it, with my own real feelings to even be able to project that. So even on my time off, I wasn't the same balanced person that I am now, if that makes sense.
Well, it's pretty cool that you made it to the top. You made it into the Hall of Fame without having to scream and yell.
I resisted that my whole career. They always wanted me to yell, scream,
Yeah,
wanted me to yank my ponytail out and shake my hair. They thought that
right.
that was going to be, yeah. So many things were suggested. Yeah, it
And
was, and
it,
I was like, hey, don't you got enough of those dudes?
well, I think now we're seeing it with Roman Reigns.
I thought you were
He's
going to say Matt Riddle because he basically does everything that they suggested for me and
right,
stuff that I came up with as well.
right. Yep, that is true. But Roman's new character is very reserved and very relaxed. And it's rare. It stands out.
He does have a chill vibe too. Whenever I've been around Roman, he seems very calm and relaxed. And yeah, that's cool that they can let him be himself more. And if I was in control, which we can never control what people think about us, but if I had something to say about what kids would take from watching me, I'd much rather have them pick up on that kind of stuff, on accepting things and being more stoic instead of
Hmm.
getting angry, flying off the handle. That leads to trouble and a dramatic life. Very not zenful.
Hmm. What types of methods do you do or have you studied in order to keep mindfulness?
Cannabis helps me, and it's very conducive. So I got to say that as I'm standing here
Yeah.
smoking the joint. But I when I was in martial arts, I had a couple of different instructors that really opened up my mind to my first awareness
Hmm.
and perspective. One of the ways that one of the guys taught me, we were meditating, we all had our eyes closed for a while and stuff, and then he started having us visualize, and we were visualizing an overhead view of ourselves, and then we just kept panning out, like, look at yourself with this class of 20 people, take it all in, and then you go up, and then you're looking at yourself with the whole block that you're around, and you go up, now look at you, with the whole city, look at what a speck of water you are, and you keep going up, eventually you're
Hmm.
going to feel like all your problems that seem like they're going to end the world, they're not really that significant to the overall picture. There's
That's right.
always a bigger picture too. So never really think that you have everything. There's always a bigger picture. So there was that guy was really helpful, and there was another guy that taught me a different way of meditating to reach a point of like almost like floatingness of the brain, where you disconnected everything that you've already thought about, everything from the ticking in my left pinky to feeling the wind blow on behind my right ear. You've gone through everything so many times over and over, internal, external, to where you eventually end up in a spot of inner peace, where you're actually not thinking of anything. You've already gone over that song that kept popping in your head. You've already gone past it, but you can't put a time on that. You never know how long it's going to take, and that's why,
Mm.
as an adult, it's a lot harder than as a kid. As a kid, I could just get there every time, and now sometimes you might go for it and not even get all the way there. But even if you get a lot of the way there, you're gonna feel like your brain is so much more refreshed, and so that started my my perspective on the whole thing. Always been a fan of martial arts and their beliefs, and just overall what I knew about Eastern philosophies and stuff. And I've read some good books, and I've studied several arts along the way, which also are consistent with Zen, with the yin and yang. I have read a few books that I'll throw out there that really helped me. And a lot of people that read this book as well, the Celestine prophecy, say the
Oh
same
yeah.
thing,
Oh yeah, I got
right?
it right there. I got it up there. Yep.
Yeah, a lot of people like, and then I get goosebumps just mentioning it, and they
Yeah.
talk about that in the book,
Yeah. Yeah.
explain that in there, and it's real. I got goosebumps. Why do I,
Yeah.
But anyway, that one,
Yeah.
as is with most people, that completely changed my life into seeing everything as energy, and then everything just made so much more sense. I liked the secret, yeah, the Four Agreements,
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that one.
I've had Don Miguel on this podcast before.
Yeah. But I also have always worked on growing my connection with the bigger it, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I can't tell you, oh, I know for sure that Jesus Christ is with me and he walked on water. I mean, those are stories, but what I know as true is that I feel like there is a greater power, greater plan, whether it's we're one and the same or whatever, there's an external energy that's not as describable by science, but that runs everything. It's like a network of energy that we all feel that causes synchronicities to happen at the other sides of the world at the same time. And once I started documenting all that stuff, I really got excited about growing my relationship with this power, which I call the universe. The more I grew my relationship with the universe, the better I felt. Like it's just pulling me in the right direction. Oh, I wanted to say this. That's why I brought that up. The one time when my relationship hit a whole new level, this was so long ago, I might have been like 26. I had my own apartment and I was so stressed out, girl problems, job problems, all kinds of stuff. And I was trying to meditate to get rid of the stress. And I was looking at a yin yang poster on the wall. And as I got deep, I guess I must have opened up my eyes after I've been sitting there a while. But the poster explained yin and yang to me, and that was like so enlightening. I saw it as two counterparts, each trying to overcome each other at the exact same time with the exact amount of force. This would create a perfect current, like a stream of water in a brook, but it's not perfect because there's all kinds of obstacles in it that interfere with the pathology. So every problem that I had was just a rock, and I could think about what's bothering me. All right, I put it in there. Or I see it, and instead of feeling overwhelmed by all these things, I saw like 4 or 5 rocks of different size that were blocking. And as I just drew attention to them, just being aware, I was able to pull it out and then
Mhm.
cause the stream of energy to then flow effortlessly through. And so that became my lifelong goal, is to try to get as close to that perfect stream as possible, knowing nobody's perfect, but knowing the closer to it that I am, the better me I am.
Enlightenment. Yeah.
I totally, like, after it did, they was spinning on my wall in front of me. I saw it moving, and I saw the flows like having to evade, not stop, but they had to go around the obstructions, and it was so obvious what needed to be done. And after that, I just realized, like, more than ever, that my relationship with the universe is always, always, always with me through good and bad, and
Hmm.
I imagine it always will be. When I get disconnected, I know it's very obvious.
In the Zen tradition, that's typically called a satori.
Sweet.
And it takes a few satoris for us, or even sometimes just one, for us to really have that understanding. And that's what it sounds like you had.
Cool. Yeah, very cool. And that was so long ago, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah. I just recently, like, I've always considered myself stoic and heard that term many times, but I
Mhm.
didn't until recently. I didn't really know that there was such a thing as stoicism as a
Yeah.
philosophy that
Yeah.
people. I didn't know. I just thought it meant, yeah, I don't show much emotion, or I'm
No.
not very expressive. As I looked into it, like I'm almost like a perfect match for it, and I feel like I
Yeah.
just agree with like everything they're telling me, and it makes sense.
I call it European Buddhism because it's the same thing as Buddhism. It's
Yeah.
really the same thing. It's all the same thing. And I think
Yeah.
that's one of the one of the great advances of modern times is mindfulness, which is the new hot term. And it takes the spiritual edge off of it, so that a heavy Christian or a heavy Jewish or a heavy Muslim person can do mindfulness without feeling like they're disobeying. You
Okay.
know?
Yeah, that guilt. Yeah.
Yeah, the guilt. There you go. Back to the guilt. Yeah, guilt, approval. Man, we gotta address all this, right?
It's all the same. Yeah, just like you said, you nailed it when you said it's all the same. It's all just our own
All the
subjective
same.
perspective.
I think at the end of the day, we have this computer, right? And
Yeah.
there's just data playing, and it's all coming from programming, man. What triggers you these days? Or are you feeling completely equanimous?
No, I've had a few
You
flaws
you
in
smirked
my,
when I said that.
yeah, because yeah, but I'm not, I mess up and I'm not proud of it when but it's like I like I said, it takes a lot to overwhelm me normally, or somebody has to really go out of their way to prove to me that they're trying to offend me. You know what I mean? That happens. But I had a rough day traveling recently, where a flight from London to Las Vegas, I didn't sleep one wink on it. Everybody was partying on it, and I kept almost saying something to them, but I'd already like that earlier that day. I had a couple of things where I said something. I'm usually the most passive, so if I say something to somebody, like the girl at the trying to get into the lounge, right? And she's like, "What flight are you on?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm on such and such, but I have status on such and such." And she'd be like, "And you want what?" And I said, "To get in there." And she's like, "And you remember this?" I said, "I told you I have this." And then she's like, "And you're flying today?" And I was just like, I didn't get mad, but I was just like, "Why do you keep asking me the same questions? Do you think that I'm lying to you?" For me, that's almost a blow up. You know what I mean? But I'm not ashamed of myself. I'm proud of myself at that point. I'm like, you know what? That was fine. You didn't. But after that trip, man, this is a pet peeve of mine. When you get, because I fly all the time. When you get off the airplane, the front row gets off first, right? Then the second row gets off, right? The third row that gets off, and you watch this. Everybody has to do it. I'm like 4 or 5 rows from the back of this plane, and then when it's finally my turn and I go to get up, this dude from 2 rows behind, he'd like run up and he's standing in my way, so I can't get out. That's a pet peeve of mine. It's
Mm.
like one of the rudest things I think that people do to me on the regular. I mean, somebody will get mad when a car speeds by you. You go, "Oh, what's your big hurry, buddy?" But you have no idea what that guy's going through his mind. You have no idea what he's doing. But also, that dude is taking the risk of getting a ticket. He decided to take a risk that you're not. This guy, he even though everyone else off the airplane waited until the row. So anyway, as you can see, and yeah, I blew up on him. And I blew up on him a little bit more. I was just like, how the fuck am I supposed to get up when you're standing in my way? You got a special ticket or something that you don't have to wait, even though everybody else did. And anyway, he was like, "Oh, I'll take that." I said, "Yeah, whatever. Hope you make your fucking flight or whatever you're running to, you fucking asshole." He gets up, and then when we get
So
off the
you,
plane,
yeah.
he's like 2 people ahead of me as we're walking off, and he's like, "Miss, this gentleman in the glasses right there, he swore at me." Oh, that set me off, because that's one of my things too. People that think adult language is illegal, they're
Right.
among the most shallow thinkers. So I had to really go off on it. I said, "Yeah, it's called adult language. Fuck you if you can't handle adult fucking language. What's she gonna do about it, motherfucker?" So then I gotta walk behind him like for like the next 5 minutes, and I'm just motherfucking him the whole way. "You fucking asshole, fucking dumbass." And then later on, I was not really proud of myself. I was like, you can't do that. De-escalate, bro. De-escalate.
So, like you said earlier, when you go there, you stay there for a little bit, right? You
Yeah.
stay angry.
Yeah.
What,
Didn't recover from it. That's
Rob?
it. You all got to recover and be at your best again. Otherwise, you got all that toxic energy that's just building up.
But when you do that, there's something in you that's ready to fight, because that person could have just turned around and punched you in the face. So there's something in you that's saying, I'm ready to fight if need be. We,
I agree. It's a very primal thing to feel, and it's almost embarrassing. It's like I feel like a caveman at that point, because you're right. And I don't know, it's not just people like me, but people like me that are physical. Obviously, like that's in the back of our mind. Like, hey, eventually this could lead to a fight, so I'm all right with that. But there's also, what about people that would never fight, that have no problem yelling at people, getting in their face, and never think there's going to be consequences of it? You know, what
Right.
about those people, like Karens? They're like, yeah, 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 yeah. And if they get slapped, they'll be like, oh my God, like they never ever expected that.
Call the police.
How do they do it if they don't have that feeling in the back that I do, or people like me?
Or how about that kid on the plane that was poking Mike Tyson? What was that, like
Yeah,
3, 4 months ago?
yeah,
And
yeah,
Mike just turned around and started wailing on him because he
yeah.
just
Well,
kept taking it too far, right?
yeah.
And it's Mike Tyson, like 50-year-old Tyson or not, that's Mike Tyson.
Fuck
he
yeah,
know he
yeah.
knows how to throw punches.
Yeah, I've had worse than that I can't really talk about right now.
Okay. The bottom line is you're okay with real physicality, right?
If I wasn't, I could never step in the ring, bro. I had to believe that I could take care of myself, just to be in the ring with somebody. I can't imagine feeling like vulnerable, that this person across the ring 110% would just completely destroy you and you'd have nothing to say about it. I can't imagine being in that feeling. That's part of my probably competitive mindset that hasn't left. You know,
Mm.
before wrestling, I kickbox. I was always showing off and challenging myself. I don't think everybody has that drive. For sure, that's in there. You know, like I said, nobody's perfect, and that's something that I find myself distancing from more and more. The more energy I put into my spirit.
So those kicks that you would throw in wrestling, which are impressive that you're not literally knocking their head off. You could throw one
I
of
did,
those. You could throw one of those for real.
yeah, I did not learn. I did not learn those kicks from imitating pro wrestlers throwing fake karate kicks. I learned those in the dojos and in kickboxing matches and sparring and by some really good trainers. And so that's always been part of me, and it always is. I mean, if somebody's doing me wrong, it's weird, but yeah, like when I think in defense, then the big guy does come out in my brain. I mean, I can feel it. It's not the same as like my dad would, somebody would like pass him on the wrong lane, or someone's in the left lane too long, and they're going slow in the left lane, so you can't, because they don't know that's for passing, whatever. He'd pass him. My dad would feel entitled to give them dirty looks, but what the he would feel entitled to do all that. But I'm sure in his mind, he never ever even considered that it could come to physicality. In my mind, of course. I mean, how many times have I had somebody tell me to pull over and had to fight?
Mm,
3 or 4. But then a lot of times that I didn't pull over. But that is something that is different, I think, in our psyche, don't you?
yeah, yeah, it is. But not
I don't
everyone,
know.
not everyone can throw hands. Not everyone can fight.
But would you react if you went off the handle and your pet peeve and you exploded on somebody? Could you react in a way where you would need that, have that foundation behind it of, okay, this guy might respond in a physical way. You need that in order to confront somebody.
Mm.